The next morning, with nothing but a small cloth bag filled with a few clothes, a packet of roasted groundnuts, and the little money they had saved, Ngozi boarded a rickety bus bound for Lagos. As the village disappeared in the distance, she clutched her mother's words close to her heart. A new life in Lagos. The city was nothing like the village. The streets were crowded with people rushing in every direction. The air smelled of smoke, food, and gasoline. Towering buildings loomed over her, and the noise was deafening. Ngozi stayed with her distant cousin, Uche, who had moved to Lagos years earlier. Uche lived in a cramped one-room apartment with two other girls who also worked in the city. Life was difficult, but Ngozi was determined. She soon found work as a cleaner in a small office building. The pay was meager, and the hours were long, but she never complained. She swept the floors with care, wiped the tables diligently, and carried herself with quiet pride. Some of her colleagues mocked her for doing a lowly job, but she paid them no mind. She was here for a purpose. One evening, while cleaning an office late after hours, she met a man who would change her life. Fateful meeting with Chinedu. Chinedu was a young businessman, the owner of the company where Ngozi worked. Unlike others in his position, he was humble and observant. That night, he watched as Ngozi cleaned the office with quiet determination. "You work very hard," he said. Ngozi, startled, looked up. She had seen him before but never imagined he would notice someone like her. "Yes, sir," she replied respectfully. "What is your name?" "Ngozi." "Tell me, Ngozi, what brought you to Lagos?" Ngozi hesitated, then told him her story, her mother's struggles, her dreams of providing a better life. Chinedu listened intently. There was something different about this girl. She wasn't just working for survival, she had purpose, dignity. Over time, he found himself drawn to her. He admired her honesty, her work ethic, and the quiet strength in her eyes. He began speaking to her often, asking about her life, offering advice. Then one day, he did something unexpected. "Ngozi," he said, "would you like to work as my personal assistant?" Ngozi's eyes widened in shock. "Me? But sir, I only know how to clean." Chinedu smiled. "I see potential in you. You are smart, hardworking. I will teach you what you need to know." It was the beginning of a new chapter. Ngozi stepped into her new role with the same diligence she had shown as a cleaner. She learned quickly, assisted Chinedu in meetings, and even began taking business courses in her free time. Love and transformation. As they worked together, a deep bond formed between them. Chinedu, despite his wealth, found in Ngozi a kind of sincerity he had never known. And for Ngozi, Chinedu was not just her boss. He was a mentor, a friend, and eventually, the love of her life. When Chinedu asked her to marry him, Ngozi could hardly believe it. The village girl who once had nothing was now engaged to a man who saw her worth beyond riches. Their wedding was grand but filled with love. For the first time in years, Mama Nkem traveled to Lagos to witness her daughter's transformation. She wept tears of joy as she saw Ngozi standing beside a man who truly valued her. But Ngozi did not forget where she came from. She convinced Chinedu to return with her to the village. There, he built a beautiful house for Mama Nkem, ensuring she would never struggle again. Ngozi also started a small school and a health clinic, determined to give back to the place that had shaped her. A legacy of hope. Years later, Ngozi sat under the same mango tree where she had once told her mother about leaving for Lagos. This time, she was not alone. Beside her sat her young daughter, listening intently. "Life will test you," Ngozi said, stroking the little girl's hair. "But as long as you stay true to your values, you will always find your way." The village had changed because of her. Mama Nkem was no longer the struggling widow. She was a proud grandmother, and the people who once pitied Ngozi now told their daughters to follow in her footsteps. As the sun set, laughter and music filled the air. It was a reminder that no matter where life took her, Ngozi would always return to her roots, with love, with gratitude, and with a heart full of hope.